It's for Rotarian District 7230.
It's running? Okay. Yes, my name is District Governor Matts Ingemanson, and I'm here with past Rotary International President Luis Giay, and this is our first interview. And tell me about how you became a Rotarian, Luis.
Well, first of all, a great abrazo to Rotarians from District 7230. I became Rotarian when I was only 22 years old.
Okay.
I received my degree at the university when I was 21.
Yes.
And the only assets that I have at this moment was my diploma, my certificate as a certified public accountant. I was invited to meet a group in my city, a city of 30,000 people, and it was very interesting. I found the leading people in the community, and I asked myself, what they are doing here. Slowly, I immediately understood the purpose of the meeting. They were thinking in another people, they were thinking in new work, they were thinking to improve the community, and they enjoy the friendship of Rotary. So, well, I say thank you very much, goodbye. 2 weeks later, I was invited again, and I was very pleased to go. And I went. We passed 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. I did not receive any invitation, and I went by myself because I was very happy for that. And then later on, I was invited to become a Rotarian. Now I am 53 years old in Rotary, in the same Rotary Club. I'm very happy for that. And it was an enjoyable experience in my entire life.
And you said you sponsored your father to become a Rotarian.
Yes, some years later, I sponsored my father. It was something very unusual because I went to his office and I said, Father, I have an invitation to you and you do not have the right to say no. He looked at me and I said, I would like to invite you on behalf of our colleagues in the Rotary Club to be a member. And he stood up and he said, I accept with great honor. It was a very touching moment in my life.
And you said he was ready to become president.
Oh yes, some years ago, later, he was elected president of the club. Unfortunately, he was unable to take over because together with my mother, they went to the beaches immediately after the New Year celebration, and they passed away in a car accident.
So you lost your father and your mother at the same time?
Yes, both.
Oh.
Very young.
Wow. So now, did you work with your father as an accountant, or you were separate?
He has his own firm, and I have my own new firm.
Okay.
There were two different styles, but we combine both.
Okay.
And we make a very good partnership together. We grew up very soon. We create several businesses, companies. One of the trucking companies today is the third largest trucking company in the country. We create a medical clinic, prepaid medical system as well, and a huge farm that became very well developed. So it was a good beginning, and the accounting firm was like an umbrella of all these businesses.
So how did you meet your wife, Celia, who is now a Rotary International Director?
It's a very interesting story. I was a rally race driver in Argentina since I was young, since 18 years old. I was national champion one time. I was driving for Peugeot, the French car, French firm. And someday we were in a starting line, and in front of us it was another car. We were in a third or fourth position, and we were waiting. And suddenly in the car in front of us, the door from the right, from the navigator, is open, and a beautiful lady come down. I told my navigator, look, that bride lady, she's beautiful. So what I did, I opened my door and I went to her car. I said, Mrs., your door is open, just to see her closely. And since then, I became very well acquainted with her father.
Okay.
Because she was a navigator, but the main person was her father.
He was the driver?
Yeah, the driver. So we became very close friends, and slowly we became good friends, and then we became married.
Okay. How long time did it take to get married?
It took almost 2 years, and 2 years plus 2 years.
Okay.
And 3 years, in essence, 3 years. And she was very young.
Okay.
Very young. So when I was district governor,
Yes.
I was 31 years old. 31 years old.
Yes.
And I was visiting my Rotary clubs with a lady, my spouse, and she was 23 to 24 years old. So she was a girl almost. And I am talking about 1974, 75, many years ago.
Yes.
Can you imagine this situation?
Well, you know that Paul Harris was only 37 when Rotary
Yes.
was founded.
Yes.
And he was 42 when he was president of Rotary International.
Yes, yes. Well, at the beginning of Rotary, it's very interesting. See, if you listen, you review the files of the strong leaders at the beginning of the organization, the majority were young people.
Right.
With good ideals, a strong commitment, and they really give us a strong legacy.
Yes.
In our organization. The Rotary Fellowship History Group have done an excellent work in the research, all the things, and I invite you to be part of them.
That's great. Yeah, I was giving speeches about Paul Harris to give him an image of being young, and I talked about how he was expelled from his high school and expelled from colleges, and how he did all kinds of odd things in order to inspire young people to see how that Rotary is not only for old people, but also, in fact, Rotary, the ideas of Rotary really is for young people.
Yes, and if you have the chance to talk with Celia, you can ask her a very good experience that we passed in, I believe it was in Jacksonville in United States. I was invited for a lady to receive the original letters written by Paul Harris to her.
Oh, wow.
And at that moment, we were also working with great interest to visit China.
Yeah.
Well, suddenly they knew that China was able to receive our visit. So I was thinking, what can I do? Well, I called to people in Jacksonville, I believe it was Jacksonville, and I said, may I send my wife to receive those letters? Oh, yes, they sent. So ask Celia about those letters.
Okay.
A very interesting experience.
So now, eventually you became president of Rotary International.
Yes, I became, first I became director when I was 44.
Okay.
And then I became president when I was 54 to 55. I was the youngest in the recent history of Rotary.
Okay.
Yeah, in spite of my poor English, but anyway.
No, your English is very good.
No,
Absolutely.
You know that my English is like a relation with my wife.
I'm a foreigner too. I came from Sweden. You know.
My English is like a relation with my wife. I understand, but I have not control.
I think your English is very understandable.
Thank you very much for that.
So anyway, you became president of Rotary International.
It was a wonderful experience, memorable experience.
Yes.
Can you imagine for a person, take me out, for a person 54, 55 years old,
Yes.
being president of an extraordinary organization as Rotary is, traveling around the world, meeting the heads of state, the Pope, the ministers, the noble people, the famous people, and talking about Rotary and the good thing with them, It changed the life of everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
So in this sense, I need to recognize that I was blessed, or we were blessed.
Yeah, actually, it changed my life to be governor, so I can imagine what it would do to be president of Rotary International.
Yeah.
But you have been, after you've been president of Rotary International, you've been involved in peace negotiations between countries.
Oh yes, very deeply.
Yes, can you tell us about that?
Yes, my first experience was in the 80s. My country, Argentina and Chile, were in a dispute for the island in the southern part of both countries. And there were not a clear line of communication between the governments. Both governments from both sides were military, so unfortunately it was not easy. So I took the initiative with a group of Rotarians to change the word.
Okay.
And we create the inter-country committee between Chile and Argentina.
Okay.
And immediately we start to exchange young boys from Chile, young boys and girls from Chile to Argentina, Argentina to Chile.
Okay.
And it was growing and growing and growing. And immediately we push and push and push to create more program, more help, to be more in contact.
Okay.
So this moving up, bottom up,
Right.
movement.
Bottoms up, yeah.
Bottoms up.
That's Rotary.
Bottoms up.
It's a bottoms up organization.
Bottoms up. Create a very good sense. I was called by the governments of both countries, and I received the Condor of the Andes Award, which is the highest recognition between the two countries for the people to truly work for peace between them.
And how did that result in peace, this exchange? How did
the war was stopped? War was not initiated.
No, but the governments, they finally started to talk to each other then as a result of this?
Yes.
And
yeah, we show them the examples.
Okay.
And at the same time, the Pope, we call the Pope, and the moment was John Paul II.
John Paul II,
yeah. And we call the Pope, and the Pope helped us, and we create an atmosphere in the civilian area.
Okay.
So we were able to stop the war.
And you did the same thing in Cyprus also.
Oh, and Cyprus was another interesting experience. It took more time because I was living far away.
Yes.
But there was a strong division between the northern Cyprus Rotarians and the southern Cyprus Rotarians.
Yes.
And the main problem was that the Cypriots that were living in the north were using the Turkish language for the Rotary clubs. They used their national flags, and they have meetings in hotels that belong to the Greek part of Rotarians.
Okay.
So this was more difficult. So first of all, to recognize Cyprus, the flag of Cyprus, as the only one for Rotarians in the island. Number two, to convince the Cypriot Rotarians to change the name of the club, the charter name of the club, into the Greek names.
Okay.
And we did it.
Okay.
With the original date, etc. Then we convinced them to move from different hotels that were not involved in the relation with the South people. Okay. Then we make an agreement with the government that Rotarian, when the Rotarian was crossing the border, the stamp, the passport was not stamped. Okay. Well, there was a big step, because many people from the south refused to cross to the north because the passport was stamped. Okay. And later on, we make an agreement, and it was very interesting to appoint Turkish Rotarians as assistant governors to work in the south, and a Greek Rotarians to work as assistant governors in the north. Okay. And it works very well.
And they could speak the same language?
They speak in English.
They speak English?
English, yes, they speak English. So it was very interesting experience. Very interesting.
Is Northern Cyprus in the same district as the Southern Cyprus?
Now, yes.
Now they are. So they, Did you have to change that in Rotary International, or that was always in?
No, they always were there, but they refused to be part.
They refused to
What
be
we did was we brought them into the activities under the general rules of Rotary.
And how long ago did this start, the negotiation?
I started in the 2000 at the end of 2004, and the celebration was in January 2006.
Okay. And now it's all normalized there.
Normalized without problem.
Have you been involved in other countries' peace negotiations?
Well, indirectly yes, but I cannot tell you one of them because it's 10 years under embargo for military purposes.
Okay.
So
you're not allowed to talk about that yet.
Well, I can mention the country.
You can't.
Angola.
Angola, okay.
Yes, but I cannot tell.
Okay, that's too sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems I've heard that between India and Pakistan there are Rotarians.
We were working as well there, but not too much because it was a very sensitive.
Okay.
And honestly, I didn't understand well the Pakistani position and Indian position.
Okay.
So as I was unable to fully understand, I took the decision to take a step back.
Okay.
In order not to jeopardize.
But there are other Rotarians working on it.
Oh yes, yes.
What about Rotary in Palestine and Israel? I understand that they are working together there.
They are working together. One of the things, there will be a new institute for Rotary officers in Jerusalem.
Okay.
It will be in 2 or 3 weeks. There are many people are going. Many people from the Arab countries are going as well.
Okay.
Which is a great success. And the Rotary Club in Palestine, which works in the capital, is working well.
Okay.
So in Berlin, we have an excellent peace forum that involves all that area.
Okay.
And the theme of the Berlin Peace Forum was peace beyond borders.
Okay.
So as a message that borders are not the limited of the aspiration of the needs of the people, just the borders is something like a limit for something.
I have noticed.
Can I just jump in for a question?
Sure.
Can you give an example of how the Israelis and the Palestinians are working on projects together?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hold on. You can. Yeah, how are the Israelis and the Palestinians working on projects together?
Well, let me say that the Israelis and the Palestinians are working very hard.
Okay.
They receive a very good support for projects from our Rotary Foundation, sponsored by many districts in South America, many districts in United States as well, and in Europe. Let me give you just a short example. A hospital was built in Jerusalem.
Okay.
And the Rotary Foundation provide the entire furniture for the hospital. Something like 12,000 mothers.
Okay.
Something like 12,000 mothers. We can start again.
I'm sorry.
You going somewhere?
May we start again?
That was very loud. They were.
May we start again?
Okay, that last part.
Okay.
Start again.
Let me start again since the beginning, because
Okay,
I remember something more.
Yeah,
that's okay.
start from the beginning.
Yeah.
He can always edit it.
Okay. Well, it's correct. The Palestinian and Israeli and Rotarians are working very hard. Sponsored by German Rotarians, by Rotarians in the United States, South America, and several other areas in the world. Let me just give you an example.
Yeah.
Just an example. There is a new hospital in Jerusalem.
Okay.
It treats something like 2,000, 3,000 mothers per day,
Yes.
which is big. But the main thing is this. The hospital was sponsored in all the furniture and everything by the Rotary Foundation. And the build was paid by Israeli Rotarians, American Rotarians, and Palestinian Rotarians.
Okay.
The chief of the hospital is a Christian.
Okay.
The doctors in the hospitals are Jews, and the majority of the patients are Arabic
Okay.
women. And this is the best expression that I saw in my life about the integration and how, when the common sense prevails, the peace is achieved easily.
I have noticed that even though there has been a lot of hostilities in the Gaza region, I haven't heard of any hostilities in the West Bank in many years. Do you think it could have anything to do with Rotary?
I cannot say that Rotary is involved so deeply in that area yet.
But the fact that
The fact of the things, these are subliminal,
Yes.
subliminal messages.
but that the
that we send.
leaders in Jerusalem,
Yes.
Israel, and in Palestine
Yes.
are getting together in fellowship in Rotary,
Yeah.
that could have a positive effect.
Yes, yes, yes.
But we know for a fact that there hasn't been hostilities in the West Bank.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's hostilities all over the world, unfortunately, because one of the things that I learned recently was in Turkey, in Istanbul.
Okay.
Rotary International was invited to participate in the 6th annual Congress of the Mediators Beyond Borders International.
Okay.
It's an organization that have the power to gain in its membership the most qualified people in the world, perhaps. There were 260, 270 participants.
Yes.
But one thing that truly touched myself was this. This organization select a group of women from Libya,
Yes.
Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, and Syria. 20 in total. And they train these women very neutrally how to solve problems, family problems in the communities.
Okay.
What surprised me is the caliber of these women, the intelligence, the knowledge. When I spoke about Rotary, we had the chance to talk about 1 hour and a half about Rotary, so it was very nice. But one of these women came to me and she said, Mr. Giay, I don't know, but when Rotary will arrive to Libya, I will be in the forefront.
Okay.
So what it means that we have a lot of things to do,
Right.
including United Nations.
Yes.
I believe the United Nations need to work more deeply in the field of mediation.
Yes. By the way, I always maintain that Rotary is one of the founders of the United Nations.
Oh yes, yes, yes. It's a very nice story. Very nice story.
And maybe you could tell a little bit more about that.
Well, at that moment, United Nations have only 3 employees. At the beginning, when the movement started, they have only 3 employees.
Was that back in 1942 or?
42. And there were something like 13 or 14 delegates that they volunteers,
Yes.
100%, to organize the meeting, to take the minutes, to review the decisions, to give some advice to other people. And in essence, only United States among the 39 or 41 delegates, they were the initial signers of the chart, 13 were Rotarians.
Okay.
13 were Rotarians from United States only.
Yeah.
So it's a very nice experience. And Rotary participate also in the creation of UNESCO. Yes. This is something well accepted by UNESCO.
Yeah, tell me how that started.
The story is that Rotarians in Rotary International in Great Britain and Ireland has been very active, sponsor people that were suffering in the Second World War.
Okay.
So it was a feeling that something should be done, thinking about the youth after the war.
Okay.
So as a recognition of the efforts made by Rotarians in England, a worldwide conference of a Minister of Education was called.
Okay.
And the title of the conference was the role of the youth after the war.
Okay.
And after this, after successive meetings, this was the beginning of UNESCO.
Okay.
And it's recognized in the files of UNESCO and everything.
And then 3 years later, they had a charter meeting of the United Nations.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And I believe that 48 or 49 of the
Yeah.
delegates, they were all Rotarians.
All Rotarians, yes.
And also that the U.S. State Department had asked Rotary International to participate
Yes.
and be consultants for the formulation of the
Yeah.
bylaws and the statutes.
Yeah, we were consulted in the values and the statutes of United Nations and UNESCO as well.
Yes.
It's amazing, no? It's amazing.
And Paul Harris was very active in this whole thing also.
Oh, yes.
Because he gave an interview in 1946, which is 1 year before he died. And he said, give United Nations half a chance and they could be successful. Because a lot of people remember what happened to the League of Nations. And that wasn't successful for many years. And eventually, but now, more than 70 years later, United Nations is still here. So.
Yeah. It's amazing when Rotary International loaded in Google the full collection of dear Rotarians, I say, well, this is a good opportunity to pass page by page what happened in our history. It's amazing in the 40s, in the 50s, and the 60s how Rotary International has been working for two things: the Scout movement and United Nations.
Oh, okay, the Scout movements also?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What did they do there?
Well, I truly don't know, but today we still have the Rotarian Fellowship Group of Scouting.
Yeah, I know. I was a Boy Scout till I got interested in motorcycles and girls. But
Yeah.
so now, future vision, that's another big area for you.
Another big area. It took more than 8 years.
Yes.
But we are at the end. We are really in the moment that we are enjoying the results.
Yeah.
Last week we were reviewing everything. We have just a few adjustments to make, very few adjustments, particularly in the area of technology, etc. But it's amazing how will be our foundation in 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
In 2005, we were unable to pass 2,400, 2,500 grants per year.
Yes.
Well,
And now?
now we are able to have the participation, counting the district grants and the global grants,
Yes.
more than 12,000.
12,000.
Right now.
And it was that's a major increase.
Absolutely.
And we all know how easy it is to effect change in Rotary.
Yeah.
It usually takes time.
It takes time.
Is that why it took 8
takes
years?
time.
Or how?
Yes, yes. But we were very fortunate because our leadership was very strong and was supporting us very well. Very well.
So how did you take it through the 8 years to change that? What was the steps?
Because we take, first of all, we decided to start to work with a white paper.
Okay.
No secret counts.
Okay.
No? And we were developing the new roles, the new rules, the new mission, the new technology, the new simplicity, the new ways, and we were trying to we were trying to achieve is something very sensitive. We were trying to achieve that the involvement of Rotarians must be taken care.
Okay.
Because now Rotarians, they can do everything that they wish under the 6 areas of focus, but with control, transparency, sustainability, and above all, taking into consideration that the money belongs to Rotary, not belongs to them.
Right. Okay. And then was a part. I know for 3 years you had a test. You tested it with
The pilot districts.
with the pilot districts.
Yeah.
It was about
a
25% of the whole.
Yeah, it was a very, very great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without this, without this, today will be different. The 3 years was something very, very important.
Right. And before the pilot district, did you have any pilot prior to that, or you just started with the pilot districts?
No, we started talking the pilot, and we at the same time with a moratorium with the rest of the foundation.
Yes.
So we were testing 100 districts, and we were changing slowly what was needed. But the main how can I say, the main concept, the main background of this is continuity. You cannot go this, and this. You decide, we go there, that's their goal, that's what we need to do, and this is what we like to do.
Yeah, I noticed as district governor for the first year when we have a future vision, which is now the present reality.
Oh, but wait a minute. I am looking your activities. I am seeking your monthly letters and reading this very carefully. And I would like to congratulate you much.
Thank you.
You are doing a very, very good work. And it's something that must be followed for many for the good of Rotary. Congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, what I'm trying to do is to make it possible for the Rotarians to do the job.
Yeah.
And to open up. And the funny thing is that when I started out as being nominated as governor, I realized that number one, the Rotary is not the army. Number two, we don't pay people, so we can't order people to do things. So the only thing we can really do is to find out what their passions are.
Yeah.
I concluded that Rotary is in the passion business, and therefore I was asking people, trying to figure out what their passions are. Initially they started to tell me what they thought I wanted to hear, and I finally had to tell them, this is not what I want to hear. I want to hear what you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
And based on that, I started to appoint people for different positions. And I found that once they have the passion for it, I don't have to supervise it, I don't have to manage it, because Rotarians are very smart. And they know they have the skills. And if they have the passion for it, they take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
So it made my life and my work as governor very simple, very easy.
Well, the structure of Rotary is very simple.
Yeah.
All Rotarians are in the same lane. All Rotarians are in the same lane.
Yes.
What makes the difference? Who make one step further?
Yes.
The person who are motivated.
Right.
For me, motivation is like a gasoline for a car.
Right.
When you motivate a person, the person is capable to do everything that is good for the world.
Yeah, when we had our pre-pets, for example, I thought we livened it up a little bit. My district secretary, who is a local judge, thought the same thing. So we were serving Bloody Marys and mimosas on a brunch with Eggs Benedict. And people were in good spirit. And then they came in and showed that one bag of food could feed 6 people for $1.50. And 6 Rotary clubs immediately said, we want to do this. We're going to raise $12,000. And by 6 months later, we had 42 clubs on board. And a few weeks ago, we packaged food for 48,000 people.
Good.
And we're going to do in one day. and we're going to do another 60,000. And I understand you did the same thing when you had your board meeting now recently.
Yes, recently,
And
last week.
You were participating yourself. in
Oh yes, I was a leading leading person of one team. It was very interesting.
And what I found was that the energy and the passion that people had, they said, we want to do it again.
Yes.
We wanted, and now that we're asking them to do it again on November 16, people are already lining up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's amazing what you can do when
with the volunteers, yes, yes.
So now that you're going to be a Rotary International President's rep at my district conference,
Oh, what an honor. What an honor.
what are you looking forward to in New York? What do you want? Why do you want to do it in our district?
I would like, first of all, I would like to share your experiences. I would like to see you leading the people together with Sandra.
Okay.
And number two, I would like to know as much of them as possible. And you know, a district conference has some very interesting things.
Yeah.
Number one, you receive inspiration,
Yes.
inspiration at very high level. Number two, you receive information. You are more acquainted about Rotary. But above all, number three, you enjoy the fellowship of Rotary.
Right.
And with these three things, inspiration, information, and fellowship,
Yes.
are all together, well organized, and surely you will do. It makes a success an event a success. So I am very proud for this opportunity to represent President Ron here in New York.
Yeah. And Sandra and I are very happy to have you and Celia here.
Thank you.
It.
It will be a great honor
Can
for
we
us.
use that as a commercial?
Maybe. All right, time is
Yeah.
zipping on.
Okay.
You want to say thank you and give him a hug?
Okay.
Yes,
Let's.
yes. Wait, one second.
Yes.
We in South America, when we are happy and when we truly feel our heart moving hard, moving faster, we embrace each other, the people. So much. Let me give you an abrazo.
Good.
And typical of South American abrazo. And see you in May.
See you in May, yeah.
On May in New York. And please come to help our district governor to have the best conference ever in the history of the District 7230.
And we in New York, we can do it.
Yeah, we can.
Does that work? You think we can get a commercial?
And I'm rolling.
Okay, Ron.